What if I told you that one of the most powerful foods for preserving muscle as we age doesn't come from meat, fish, or even eggs? In fact, this food contains more protein per gram than eggs, and yet most people overlook it completely. This is not just about building biceps or looking toned. It's about protecting yourself from one of the most silent yet devastating conditions of aging: sarcopenia, the gradual loss of muscle mass and strength. Now, here's why this matters. Research shows that after the age of 40, we naturally begin to lose 3–8% of our muscle mass every decade. By the time we're in our 70s or 80s, this can accelerate to nearly 15% per decade. And muscle isn't just for movement, it's your metabolic engine, your glucose regulator, your fall prevention system, and even your reserve for immune function. When muscle disappears, independence disappears. The ability to climb stairs, carry groceries, or even get out of a chair without help, that's what sarcopenia takes away. So here's the exciting part. Nutrition can fight this process faster than most people realize. For years, eggs were praised as the perfect protein because of their complete amino acid profile. But modern nutritional science has revealed another food source that is even richer in protein, more digestible, and packed with compounds that directly support muscle repair and growth. And today we're going to explore it together. In this session, I'll walk you through the science of why this food outperforms eggs in supporting muscle preservation, how it impacts your brain and metabolism, and most importantly, simple, evidence-based ways you can start using it daily to strengthen your body and defend against sarcopenia. Here, SSS, what you stole, discover. The surprising protein density of this food compared to eggs, how it activates the same muscle-building pathways that exercise does. The role it plays in reducing inflammation and oxidative stress that accelerate muscle loss, a daily protocol to combine it with other foods for maximum effect, the neuroscience of why preserving muscle also protects your brain, and a simple 10-minute routine that works synergistically with this food to supercharge results. By the end, you'll not only know what this food is, you'll know how to use it as a tool for resilience, strength, and longevity. When most people think of protein, eggs immediately come to mind. And for good reason. A single large egg contains about 6 grams of protein, with a biological value so high that for years, nutrition scientists used it as the gold standard against which all other proteins were measured. But here's where the story gets fascinating. There's a plant-based food, spirulina, that not only surpasses eggs in protein density, but also carries unique advantages for aging muscles. Gram for gram, dried spirulina contains nearly 60–65% protein by weight. Compare that to eggs, which are about 12–13% protein. That means if you put equal weights of spirulina and eggs side by side, spirulina provides nearly 5 times the protein density. Even more importantly, spirulina delivers all 9 essential amino acids, the building blocks your muscles cannot synthesize on their own. Now, why does this matter for sarcopenia? The real driver of muscle preservation is something called muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the process by which your body repairs and builds muscle fibers. For MPS to be triggered, you need a certain threshold of essential amino acids, particularly leucine. Eggs contain about 0.5 grams of leucine per egg, but spirulina packs in significantly higher leucine density per gram. This is why researchers have called spirulina a muscle-preserving superfood in the context of aging. Let's translate this into real life. Imagine your muscles as a brick wall that's constantly being broken down by daily wear and tear. To keep the wall standing, you need to add new bricks at the same rate they're removed. Protein, and specifically essential amino acids, are those bricks. Without enough, the wall crumbles over time, which is exactly what sarcopenia looks like in the body. Spirulina doesn't just give you more bricks, it gives you high-quality bricks that fit perfectly into the wall. Here's what the research shows in several clinical studies. Spirulina supplementation improved muscle strength, endurance, and recovery in both athletes and older adults. And unlike some animal proteins, spirulina comes with virtually no saturated fat or cholesterol burden. That means you're getting pure concentrated protein without the cardiovascular trade-offs. Another overlooked advantage is digestibility. Eggs, while excellent, can sometimes cause sensitivity or digestive discomfort in certain people. Spirulina's protein, on the other hand, is highly digestible, with a net protein utilization score, a measure of how efficiently the body uses the protein that rivals or exceeds that of eggs. In simple terms, more of what you eat is actually absorbed and used by your muscles. Now, I know what you might be wondering. Does this mean I should stop eating eggs and only eat spirulina? Absolutely not. Eggs still provide important nutrients like choline and vitamin D that spirulina lacks, but when it comes to pure protein density and muscle-preserving potential, spirulina is unmatched. The real power comes from strategically combining both, using spirulina to supercharge your protein intake while still benefiting from the unique nutrients in eggs. A simple tool to apply is this: add 1 to 2 teaspoons of spirulina powder to a smoothie, yogurt, or even a glass of water daily. This adds an easy 4-6 grams of complete protein in just seconds, without requiring you to cook or prepare a full meal. Think of it as a concentrated dose of muscle insurance. And let's make it personal. Have you noticed how easy it is to feel full after a heavy meal, yet still struggle to get enough protein consistently throughout the day? That's where spirulina shines. Because it's lightweight, concentrated, and versatile, it helps you cross that protein threshold without adding bulk or extra calories. For older adults especially, this is critical. Appetite often decreases with age, but protein needs actually increase to counteract muscle loss. Spirulina bridges that gap beautifully. So to recap this first key point, spirulina outperforms eggs in raw protein density, provides a complete amino acid profile, supports faster and more efficient muscle protein synthesis, and does so in a form that's lightweight, digestible, and easy to integrate daily. It's not about replacing what you already eat, but about amplifying your muscle-preserving strategy with one of nature's most concentrated protein sources. Protein is only the beginning of the story. The real magic happens in how your body uses that protein to actually build and preserve muscle. And at the center of this process is something called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as the master switch for growth. When mTOR is turned on, your body ramps up muscle protein synthesis, repairing and reinforcing your muscle fibers. When it's turned off, muscle repair slows and breakdown starts to outpace rebuilding. Now here's what's fascinating. Both resistance exercise and certain amino acids activate this pathway. The key amino acid is leucine, which acts almost like a signal flare for your muscle cells. It's time to grow. Eggs contain leucine, but spirulina contains it in higher density per gram, which means smaller amounts can more effectively nudge mTOR into action. Let me give you a picture of this in real life. Imagine your muscles are like a construction site. The bricks protein are delivered, but unless the foreman mTOR gives the signal, no building happens. Spirulina isn't just delivering high-quality bricks, it's also sending a strong signal to the foreman to get to work right now. That dual effect is what makes it so powerful against sarcopenia. Here's what the research shows: as we age, the mTOR pathway becomes less sensitive. This is why older adults often need more protein than younger adults just to get the same muscle-preserving effect. This phenomenon is sometimes called anabolic resistance. It's not that your body can't build muscle anymore, it's that it requires a louder signal to wake up the system. Spirulina, with its leucine-rich profile, provides exactly that. But mTOR is not just about muscle. This pathway also integrates signals from energy status, stress, and nutrients to coordinate cell survival, growth, and repair. That means when you activate mTOR properly, you're not just preserving muscle mass, you're improving metabolic resilience, blood sugar regulation, and even cognitive vitality. The brain, after all, thrives when the body is metabolically efficient. Here's a practical takeaway. To maximize the mTOR activating power of spirulina, timing matters. One simple protocol is to pair spirulina intake with a bout of resistance exercise, even something as short as 10 minutes of bodyweight movements, squats, push-ups, or resistance band pulls. Exercise provides the mechanical stress signal while spirulina provides the nutrient signal. Together, they amplify mTOR activation far more than either one alone. It's like flipping two switches that light up the same circuit. Now, I want you to reflect on this. Have you ever noticed how much better your muscles feel when you eat a protein-rich meal after a workout compared to just eating carbs? That's mTOR at work. You've primed the system with exercise and the protein provides the spark. Spirulina can magnify that spark in a concentrated, efficient way. And remember, you don't need to load up with massive amounts. Even a teaspoon or two of spirulina powder stirred into water or blended into a smoothie combined with some form of resistance movement can be enough to flip that growth switch. Consistency is more important than volume. Daily signals repeated over weeks and months are what slow down and even reverse sarcopenia. So in this second layer of the story, we see that spirulina is not just a protein source, it's an activator. It engages the same biological pathways that exercise does, helping your body overcome the natural anabolic resistance of aging. Eggs are excellent, but spirulina brings a unique intensity to the signal, making it especially valuable for older adults who need every advantage in preserving strength. And before we move forward, let me say this. If this kind of science-backed insight is resonating with you, consider subscribing to the channel. That way you'll always have access to strategies like these, grounded in research, designed to protect your health and delivered in ways you can apply today. We've looked at how spirulina provides dense, high-quality protein and how it activates the mTOR pathway to keep muscles growing. But muscle health is not just about building, it's also about protection. And one of the biggest threats to muscle integrity as we age is chronic inflammation and oxidative stress. Let's break this down. Every time your muscles work, they produce free radicals, unstable molecules that in small amounts help signal adaptation and repair. But when inflammation is high and oxidative stress is unchecked, those same free radicals start breaking down muscle proteins, damaging cell membranes, and accelerating the very loss of muscle mass we're trying to prevent. This is why sarcopenia is often linked with systemic inflammation, sometimes referred to as inflammaging. Now, here's where spirulina stands out. Beyond protein, spirulina contains phycocyanin, a deep blue pigment with remarkably strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory effects. In fact, phycocyanin has been shown to inhibit the activity of enzymes like COX-2, the same pathway targeted by some anti-inflammatory drugs, but in a gentler, natural way. Think of it like this: protein builds the house, but phycocyanin protects it from fire damage. Without protection, all the building you do gets undone over time. Spirulina delivers both the construction material and the fireproofing in one package. Another compound worth noting is beta-carotene, a precursor to vitamin A, which further enhances antioxidant defense. Spirulina also provides small but meaningful amounts of other protective nutrients like vitamin E, manganese, and zinc, all of which contribute to neutralizing oxidative stress. So what does this mean practically? If you're someone who exercises regularly, and you should be, because movement is one of the most powerful anti-sarcopenia tools, you're placing oxidative stress on your muscles. That's normal and even beneficial in moderation. But if your antioxidant defenses are weak, the balance tips from adaptation into damage. Spirulina helps restore that balance, ensuring that the stress from exercise becomes a stimulus for growth rather than a source of breakdown. You ever noticed how some people bounce back quickly after a workout while others feel sore for days? A large part of that difference comes from how well their body manages inflammation and oxidative stress. By adding spirulina, you give your system a toolkit for faster recovery and protection against long-term damage. Another layer to this is the immune system. Chronic inflammation doesn't just harm muscles, it drains energy, fogs the brain, and weakens resilience to illness. Spirulina has been shown to enhance immune activity while simultaneously reducing the damaging effects of runaway inflammation. That's a powerful dual effect. You stay more resistant to infections while also lowering the internal wear and tear that accelerates aging. Here's a simple tool. Try using spirulina in your post-workout nutrition. Mix 1 teaspoon into a protein shake or smoothie after resistance training. This not only reinforces muscle protein synthesis, but also delivers phycocyanin at the very moment your body is dealing with oxidative stress. It's like sending in both construction workers and firefighters immediately after a storm hits repair and protection hand in hand. And remember, inflammation is not just about workouts. It's fueled by poor sleep, chronic stress, excess sugar, and environmental toxins. Spirulina won't erase all of that, but it can significantly buffer your system against the damage Over weeks and months, this protection accumulates, slowing the progression of sarcopenia and helping you feel more energetic, resilient, and capable. So in this third key point, the story deepens. Spirulina doesn't just help you build muscle, it helps you keep the muscle you build. By lowering chronic inflammation and neutralizing oxidative stress, it ensures that your investment in protein and exercise isn't eroded by silent internal damage. By now, we've seen how spirulina provides concentrated protein, activates the mTOR growth switch, and shields muscle from inflammation and oxidative damage. But there's another piece of the puzzle that often goes unnoticed: your gut microbiome. The community of trillions of bacteria living in your intestines isn't just about digestion, it's directly connected to your muscles, your hormones, and even your brain. This relationship is sometimes called the gut-muscle axis. Here's how it works. Your gut bacteria help break down food, extract nutrients, and even produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs. These SCFAs travel through your bloodstream and influence muscle metabolism, insulin sensitivity, and inflammation levels. When your gut is thriving, your muscles receive more efficient fuel, better recovery signals, and a stronger defense against sarcopenia. But when the microbiome is imbalanced, something common with age, stress, or poor diet, the opposite happens. Nutrients aren't absorbed as well, inflammation rises, and the muscle preservation process slows down. It's like trying to build a strong house on a cracked foundation. This is where spirulina once again proves unique. Studies have shown that spirulina acts as a prebiotic, meaning it feeds beneficial gut bacteria by nourishing species that produce anti-inflammatory and muscle-supporting metabolites. Spirulina strengthens the gut-muscle connection. In other words, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding the bacteria that help keep your muscles strong. Let's use an analogy. Think of your gut bacteria as skilled kitchen staff in a restaurant. You provide them with ingredients and they prepare meals that fuel your entire body. If you give them poor quality ingredients, the meals suffer. But when you provide them with nutrient-rich foods like spirulina, they turn it into powerful compounds that boost your muscles, energy, and resilience. And here's another fascinating point. Gut health affects hormone regulation. Certain gut microbes help balance levels of testosterone, estrogen, and growth factors, all of which play vital roles in muscle maintenance. Spirulina's ability to encourage these microbes supports not just digestion, but also the hormonal environment your muscles need to thrive. A practical application here is consistency, just like exercise. The gut responds best to repeated inputs over time. Adding a teaspoon of spirulina daily isn't just a one-off nutrient boost, it's a long-term signal to your microbiome. Grow the species that protect me. Over weeks and months, this compounds into stronger digestion, better nutrient absorption, and ultimately stronger muscles. Now let me ask you this, have you ever eaten a nutrient-rich meal but still felt bloated, sluggish, or like it didn't stick? That often comes down to the gut not processing food optimally. Spirulina helps restore balance, ensuring that the protein and amino acids you consume from eggs, chicken, beans, or anywhere else are actually absorbed and delivered to your muscles where they're needed most. This gut-muscle link also highlights why spirulina shouldn't be seen in isolation. Pairing it with fiber-rich vegetables, fermented foods like yogurt or kefir, and adequate hydration creates a gut environment that multiplies its benefits. It's synergy. Each piece amplifies the others. So in this fourth layer, spirulina emerges as more than just fuel or protection. It becomes a communicator linking your gut health to your muscle health in a two-way system. And when you strengthen that system, you're not just preventing sarcopenia, you're building a foundation for energy, vitality, and longevity. And if these insights are opening new doors for you, if you're starting to see the bigger picture of how nutrition, exercise, and the body's hidden systems work together, I'd invite you to subscribe to this channel. That way you'll stay connected to a growing community that values science, practical tools, and the pursuit of long-term vitality. Up to this point, we've been looking at muscles, how spirulina fuels them, activates growth pathways, protects them from inflammation, and even strengthens them through the gut-muscle connection. But here's something most people don't realize. Your muscles and your brain are deeply connected. Preserving one protects the other. Neglecting one harms the other. The science is clear. People who maintain stronger muscles as they age also maintain better cognition, memory, and emotional resilience. Why? Because muscle tissue doesn't just move your body. It acts like an endocrine organ, releasing signaling molecules called myokines whenever you contract your muscles. These myokines travel to the brain, where they reduce inflammation, stimulate the growth of new neurons, and improve communication between brain cells. Now, here's where spirulina comes in. Remember the amino acid leucine we discussed earlier? Beyond activating muscle protein synthesis, leucine also contributes to the production of neurotransmitters, the brain's chemical messengers. Spirulina's high concentration of essential amino acids provides the raw materials not only for stronger muscles, but also for sharper brain function. Spirulina also contains small but meaningful amounts of compounds like tryptophan, a precursor to serotonin, which influences mood and emotional stability. That's why people who consistently consume spirulina often report not just physical vitality, but also improved focus and mood balance. Let's step back and put this in perspective. Have you ever noticed how a brisk walk or light strength training session clears your head, sharpens your focus, and even improves your outlook? That's the brain-muscle link in action. When you add spirulina into the picture, you're amplifying that effect, fueling the muscles to produce more beneficial signals, and giving the brain direct access to amino acids. It needs to function optimally, but there's another layer. Sarcopenia doesn't just rob you of strength, it robs you of independence and confidence. And when independence shrinks, mental health often declines. Spirulina's role in preserving muscle mass indirectly supports psychological well-being by helping you remain capable, mobile, and engaged with life. This is what scientists call a virtuous cycle. Stronger muscles lead to better brain health, which motivates more movement, and better nutrition, which in turn preserves muscle. A practical tool here is pairing spirulina intake with mentally engaging activities. For example, try having a spirulina smoothie before doing a crossword puzzle, practicing music, or engaging in social conversation. You're supplying the amino acids and antioxidants that support brain function while simultaneously stimulating the brain with challenge and novelty. The result? A double reinforcement loop for both cognition and muscle health. And let's not forget about energy. Many older adults struggle with fatigue, and fatigue is one of the biggest barriers to both exercise and mental engagement. Spirulina naturally contains compounds like iron and B vitamins, which contribute to oxygen transport and cellular energy production. By improving how efficiently your body produces energy, spirulina indirectly fuels both muscular endurance and mental stamina. Here's the big picture. Spirulina is not just a muscle food. It's a whole body performance enhancer that bridges the gap between physical and cognitive vitality. By nourishing your muscles, it strengthens the very signals that keep your brain resilient. By protecting your brain, it enhances the motivation and clarity you need to keep moving. So in this fifth key point, we see that spirulina works along the muscle-brain continuum, fueling neurotransmitters, stabilizing mood, protecting neurons, and reinforcing the cycle of movement and cognition. This is why preserving muscle is never just about strength or appearance. It's about protecting the control center of your life, your brain. We've covered the science. Spirulina provides protein density that surpasses eggs. It flips on the mTOR growth switch. It shields muscles from inflammation and oxidative damage. It strengthens the gut-muscle connection, and it even supports brain health through the muscle-brain axis. But knowledge only becomes power when you can put it into action. So let's translate this into practical daily protocols. First, let's talk dosage and form. Spirulina is most commonly available as a powder or tablet. A standard serving is about 1 to 2 teaspoons of powder daily, or roughly 3 to 6 grams. This is enough to deliver meaningful protein, antioxidants, and microbiome support without overwhelming the system. If you're new to spirulina, start small, half a teaspoon, and gradually increase as your body adapts. Next, let's consider timing to maximize muscle protein synthesis. Spirulina works best when consumed around periods of activity. That doesn't mean you need a long gym session. Even 10 minutes of resistance-based movements like chair squats, wall push-ups, or resistance band pulls paired with spirulina intake can amplify mTOR activation and muscle repair. Think of it as priming the soil and then planting the seed. Now, how do you actually use it? Spirulina has an earthy, sea-like taste, which some people enjoy and others find strong. The simplest method is blending it into a smoothie with fruit like banana, pineapple, or berries. The natural sweetness balances the flavor. You can also stir it into yogurt, mix it with oatmeal, or even add it to energy bites with nuts and dates. If you prefer convenience, tablets are an option, but powders allow for more flexible integration into meals. Another practical tip is stacking spirulina with complementary foods. Pair it with vitamin C, rich foods like citrus or kiwi to enhance absorption of its iron. Healthy fats like avocado or olive oil to support uptake of its fat-soluble antioxidants. Other proteins like eggs, beans, or fish to build a more complete amino acid profile across the day. Think of spirulina as a cornerstone, but not the entire structure. It amplifies what you're already doing with a balanced diet. Now let's add in the movement synergy. If you truly want to fight sarcopenia fast, combine spirulina intake with short, consistent bouts of resistance exercise. Here's such a simple 10-minute daily routine. Chair squats, 2 sets of 10, 12 reps. Wall push-ups, 2 sets of 8, 10 reps. Resistance band rows, 2 sets of 12 reps. Standing calf raises, 2 sets of 15 reps. Finish with light stretching. Do this once a day. Preferably around the time you consume spirulina, and you create the perfect environment for muscle preservation, nutrients plus stimulus. Have you noticed how much easier it is to stick to habits when they're short, clear, and repeatable? That's the psychology of consistency at work. A teaspoon of spirulina, 10 minutes of movement. Over time, those small actions stack into massive protection against sarcopenia. Finally, let's not forget sustainability. The best protocol is the one you'll actually follow. If spirulina fits more easily into your morning routine, take it then. If evenings feel calmer and consistent, pair it with dinner. The timing matters less than the regularity. Muscles thrive on steady, repeated signals. So here's the big takeaway. Spirulina is not just another supplement. It's a daily tool. A teaspoon, a simple movement routine, and a few mindful food pairings can build a protective shield around your muscles, your brain, and your independence. And if you found this journey through the science and application of spirulina valuable, I'd love for you to join this community by liking this video, leaving a comment about how you plan to integrate spirulina, and subscribing for more insights like this. Together, we're building not just knowledge, but resilience, strength, and longevity. We've traveled a long journey together in this session, and I want to bring it all together because at the heart of today's message is something simple yet profoundly powerful. You have the ability to slow down and even reverse the muscle loss that comes with aging, and spirulina can be a key ally in that fight. Let's recap what we've uncovered. First, we saw that spirulina provides a protein density that far exceeds eggs, nearly 5 times as much per gram. And it's not just quantity, it's quality. Spirulina delivers all 9 essential amino acids with a particularly strong presence of leucine, the very amino acid that signals your muscles to grow. Second, we explored the mTOR pathway, the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Spirulina doesn't just give you the raw materials, it helps flip the growth switch on, especially in older adults where anabolic resistance makes muscle harder to preserve. This extra signal can make all the difference. Third, we learned that spirulina is a defender. Its antioxidants, particularly phycocyanin, act like firefighters against chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, the silent forces that erode muscle and accelerate aging. By lowering that internal fire, spirulina ensures that the muscles you build, you keep. Fourth, we open the door to the gut-muscle axis, the idea that your microbiome is in constant conversation with your muscles. Spirulina feeds beneficial bacteria, which in turn produce compounds that support hormone balance, nutrient absorption, and muscle repair. It's not just about what you eat, but about how your body uses it, and spirulina strengthens that bridge. Fifth, we discovered the profound muscle-brain connection. Strong muscles send positive signals to the brain, fueling neuroplasticity, protecting memory, and uplifting mood. Spirulina fuels both ends of that cycle. It provides amino acids that the brain uses for neurotransmitters, while also preserving the muscle tissue that sends brain protective signals. In short, when you strengthen your muscles, you strengthen your mind. And finally, we translated it into practice. Just 1 to 2 teaspoons of spirulina daily, paired with a short 10-minute resistance routine, becomes a sustainable, repeatable protocol. Stack it with complementary foods, and you've created a simple, science-backed ritual that builds resilience over time. Now, let's step back and reflect. Why does this matter so much? Because sarcopenia is not just about losing strength, it's about losing independence. It's about whether you can rise from a chair without help, carry groceries without strain, or walk with confidence without fear of falling. These are not luxuries, they are the very foundations of dignity, vitality, and freedom as we age. And here's the hopeful truth. You don't need hours in the gym or complicated supplements to fight back. You need consistency. You need the right signals delivered daily through nutrition, movement, and mindset. Spirulina offers one of the most concentrated, efficient ways to deliver that signal. So my challenge to you is this. Start today, add spirulina to your morning or evening routine, pair it with a few minutes of movement. Notice how your energy, recovery, and focus begin to shift over the weeks. Small actions, repeated consistently, will create the strength and clarity you want for decades to come. And as always, I'd love to hear from you. Share in the comments how you plan to integrate spirulina into your daily life, or what small step you'll commit to today in your fight against sarcopenia. Like this video if it resonated, and subscribe to join a community dedicated to science, strength, and sustainable vitality. Because this isn't just about food, it's about building a future where your body and mind stay strong, independent, and fully alive.